it's not just us, this generation, that matters, it's the future. That's an important plank of sustainable development. Now here's my friend Ed Barbier, who is professor of economics at the University of Wyoming and also a member of the economics rock band. And he was the one that invented the famous Venn diagram, which is this. Now, what he meant by this is that we have three systems which are all interlinked. So we have to think about the economy, the environment, and society, and their interactions. However, this was taken over by NGOs and non-economists who now interpret this to mean these three circles are three different objectives, and the only time you can be sustainable if you're satisfactory on all three. So this has not been operationalized because we would have to have metrics for each one of those. Then we have to say what's satisfactory, what's not satisfactory. And then finally, what's the satisfactory region that satisfies all three. So, I don't know Gina Lopez, but just from the press accounts, it seems that she goes one step further and says it's not just the three objectives that matter, it's actually one. It's the preservation of natural capital. That's the primary objective. So that's not sustainable development as we know it in economics, at least. And so what we need to do is think of one system which is conveniently envisioned as the economy embedded inside nature. We take good stuff out, like clean air and clean water, and we put bad stuff in. And the environment has some limited assimilative capacity. But after a while, the bad stuff may start stacking up and causing disamenities. But that's the idea of one system. And the three pillars of sustainability, according to Robert Stevens, who's the leading environmental economist at Harvard, I guess Weitzman would follow that. And so as we've said before, we take care of the interlinkages, we take care of the posterity, and then we're maximizing this thing, intertemporal welfare. Not just our welfare, but future generations. So that's the essence of it. And formally, this is kind of the simplest way we can write it down. We say that the benefits come from production and then enjoyment of environmental amenities and consumption. And these are produced with the three capitals: the made capital, plant equipment, natural resources, and garbage. So this is the garbage we pour into the water and air, which actually generates benefits on the production side, but has costs on the other side. So this is the damages that occur, and this is the cost of extracting a certain amount of natural resources. So that's the basic objective, just one objective, three capitals, and three instruments. So people get confused because they think from Tinbergen there should be one instrument for every objective, but what Tinbergen really said was there should be at least as many instruments as objectives. But here, we only have one objective anyway. As an aside, the reason Tinbergen and especially macroeconomists think there's multiple objectives is simply because we're ignorant about the consequences of things like monetary policy on welfare. So we have these ancillary objectives such as unemployment and inflation. It's not because there's really more than one objective, it's just because these are tools that help us, we think, promote welfare. And as usual, we get three conditions that have to be satisfied that are all marginal benefit equals marginal cost. The marginal benefit of dumping gunk into the water has to be equal to the marginal damage cost. This is the famous Pierce equation of resource economics, which says the price or marginal benefit of extracting a resource, the extraction should be done until that's equal to the extraction cost. The marginal user cost is just the opportunity cost. How much does the value of the stock decrease from taking out one unit? And the marginal damage costs that might come along with extraction that we've heard a lot about in the newspaper lately. And then finally, how do we balance savings with the benefits of made capital and the benefits of natural capital, so the marginal benefits of having those capitals in production should be equal to the marginal cost of saving. So that's sustainability in economics. It's just a picture, a cartoon of the same idea. So people oftentimes think that the only way to get more environmental amenities is to have less material consumption. That is, they're implicitly thinking we have this production possibility frontier, and so there's a trade-off between more consumption and more environment. What that overlooks is no society in the world has ever been efficient, so we're always inside the frontier. And it's possible, for example, in the case of mining, to get more of both. So we could imagine the environment is actually improved by taking some of the wealth that's created and investing either in that site or in another site. So maybe we're doing reforestation at the same time as part of the proceeds. And personally, I think the reason that many environmentalists think that capitalism is the enemy is because they look around and they see so many examples where some special interests have benefited by extracting resources, and they've actually made the environment worse off and probably deprived future generations of the proper share of their wealth. So that we call that greedy growth. Now, how do we analyze renewables? So the next few slides show 3 ways of incentivizing more renewable production. So we go back to our fundamental diagram of electricity production from 2 sources. We can think of this as coal. There's the marginal social cost of coal, including the environmental damages. And here's the marginal cost of the renewable. So some renewables like hydro are even cheaper, and then we may find ourselves going to more expensive ones. So the way we think of subsidies usually is just subsidize the thing you like and shift its supply curve down until we've, in this case, totally dominated the production of coal. So coal disappears, this would be 100% renewables. But it means we're incurring all these costs above the marginal social cost of producing electricity, even including the value of externalities. So, not very many people do that. Not very many countries actually do that, as the former Secretary of Energy pointed out a couple of weeks ago. Another approach is to have a renewable portfolio standard mandate. So this would be the extreme case of 100% renewable mandate. And then what happens is we just, in effect, we make coal illegal. So now we just have one supply curve, which is the supply curve of renewables. But again, we have all this blue unnecessary excess cost of production, and consumers are precluded from getting this green extra benefits that they could have had if we had the efficient solution. The one good thing about this is that we have, we saved at least this amount of excess burden. Okay, I won't finish. So that's why people maybe turn to FIT. And in the perfect case of FIT, if the government is omniscient, what they try to do is act as a discriminating monopolist and just pay along the supply curve exactly what they need to pay. So they just have to pay on average this price. So that's what the